Alright. No one's here yet. I assume the audio is working because I set it up the same as last time. Again, the wind is a bit much, but I don't know what to do about that. Okay. So, last time this happened, hey Hannah, last time this happened, I ended up like just stopping the stream because I ran out of data. This is a new billing cycle, that shouldn't happen. I'm gonna limit myself to a 30-minute stream today. Hello, Sabrina. And then see how much data I used up, and we'll see. I'm thinking like twice a month, 30 minutes outside. That's like the decent. Okay. Today we are reading this Mashable article. Some gay dude on Twitter shared it, and then like everybody was flipping out on Twitter. So even though it's a year old, I was like, yeah, hey corner. Okay. Okay, let's get going. Is not wanting to have sex with trans people transphobic? I'm trans, here's what I think. And the byline says, think about what's really preventing you from engaging with certain people, by Ramses Oliva, December 2nd, 2021. So I looked up, who is Ramses Oliva? Ramses Oliva is a freelance TIFF journalist from London. Their bio, on a different website, because they didn't have one on Mashable, says, Ramses is a trans consultant, activist, and writer. His goal is improving trans visibility in all fields by providing education and representation. Yeah, exactly. Kaz is like, yes, I'm trans, therefore I couldn't possibly be biased. Exactly. Hey, Myron. Okay. Right. So this is like in italics and quotes. Can I ask you a personal question? Just like, okay, before we even get going, presumably this isn't a dating situation, so like that shouldn't be a creepy thing. If you're transgender, you're probably familiar with the feeling that question prompts. You try your best not to roll your eyes, keep smiling, nod along as you reply, quote, of course, end quote, hoping this time it might be something different. You find yourself looking for an exit, glancing at your phone, trying to summon an excuse to get out of there. You know exactly what they're about to ask. Before I reply, I'm going to read the next paragraph. I want to see what crazy conclusion this person runs into. One of the questions trans allies and a few strangers have asked me at some point is whether or not wanting to have sex with trans people is transphobic. Okay, so she didn't really address. I'm just going to address the last paragraph. If you're going to have sex with someone, for it to be consensual, they need to know what the fuck they're getting into. Acting like this is some kind of a personal attack that the person who is about to have sex with you wants to know what the fuck is on the table is insane. Like, these are the same people, presumably, but I looked at some of the other articles this person has written. Presumably this is the type of person who thinks it's cool to ask people what their kinks are on like a dating app before you even go out. But asking someone what junk they have right before you're about to have sex, that's not okay. Let's keep going. Okay. These are people who advocate for inclusion, believe in trans rights, but they feel the need to draw the line somewhere. Sexual desire. Yeah, because that's what fucking desire is. You can't coerce someone into desire. Either they want it or they don't want it. It's easy to dismantle your prejudices and biases when they don't pertain to your personal life. The uncomfortable question to ask oneself is whether your sexual desire is problematic. Being called bigoted for not wanting to have sex with someone from one particular community feels a step too far to them. Yeah, it literally is. There's like a pink hair approaching on the path, like right behind the camera. So we'll see. It's easier to dismantle your prejudices and biases when they don't pertain to your personal life. So what's that supposed to mean? If I'm like super homophobic, it's easier for me to apply the homophobia to other people than to myself, so then that's a good thing, I should do that? Is that what that means? An uncomfortable question to ask oneself is whether your sexual desire is problematic. I don't understand that either, because, well, I mean, look at TikTok. It's all these girls getting choked to the point where they're going to the ER, and then they're like, yeah, it's because my boyfriend loves me so much. So questioning if that's problematic, that's not okay. You can't even question that, because obviously you're evil if you question that. But questioning why lesbians don't like dicks, that's like, oh, you're morally supposed to do that, of course. Okay. To me, what's curious about that question is the wording. It's rarely direct. Most of the time, it's not even a question. Sometimes it's a declarative statement along the lines of, quote, I could never have sex with a trans woman, end quote. How about it's a good thing if someone knows what their fucking boundaries are? It's a good thing for someone to know what kind of sex will upset them so they can avoid that sex. How about that? Sometimes it's disguised as a compliment. Quote, your wife must really love you. I don't know if I'd be able to, end quote. Whatever. Sometimes it's just nodding and replying, quote, it's not for everyone, end quote, as if they were describing shower sex or favoring a particular sex position. Okay, but it's literally not for everyone. Like, not every person is sexually attracted to every person. Like, the premise that these people build this stuff on makes no fucking sense. Like, it literally makes no sense. Okay. People ask these questions for a variety of reasons. They may have trans people in their lives or feel they've done enough work to unpack transphobia to quote-unquote deserve an answer to more intrusive questions. So, how did we get here? How did not wanting to have sex with human beings from one community in particular become a legitimate preference? The same way, like, how is it, okay, people have kinks and that's okay, right? What are some of the kinks you're allowed to have? There's tons of men who are particularly into women who are like severely underweight, like they look like skeletons. Some of them only have sex with that type of women to the point where any other type of woman will not get them aroused. It's like they're like porn sick, right? That's okay. Don't question that. That's their kink. Don't want to kink shame. Are you a homosexual? You should be ashamed of yourself. I feel it's not even worth mentioning. The use of the term preference. Like, you can't see me roll my eyes. I'm rolling my eyes. All right. The othering of transgender people in sexual contexts is not only in the context... What? This phrase makes no sense. Isn't this person like a fucking journalist? What is this phrase? The othering of transgender people in sexual contexts is not only in the context of dating or intimacy. That is a very, very stupid phrase. Where's the editor? All right. It's systemic, and as such, it bleeds into most interactions and environments. Dating and sex is no exception. Part of the reason why people often don't want to have sex with transgender people is that they don't know what the sex would look like. Sometimes they're not even sure what trans bodies look like without their clothes. Okay, yeah. Okay. Maybe that was true. This is written in 2021. Maybe that was true in like 2010. Now, literally, I'm telling you, go do this experiment, okay? Go to your local sex store or your local queer store and look for a book about lesbian sex. If this book was published in the last couple of years, I guarantee you they will at least have a few sentences on, you know, how to prepare yourself psychologically or what to expect in bed with a Tim. This is the standard thing now, so this is bullshit. The reason they say this kind of stuff is because they're trying to put you in a position of, oh, well, you just don't know, so I'm gonna help you know, and then you can do better. They're just trying to be like, oh, it's because you're ignorant. I'm not fucking ignorant. Most lesbians now are not ignorant because we've all seen these fucking, like, zines, blogs, like, I don't know, like, cartoons, like, infographics on how to have sex with a fucking trans woman. I've seen them. You've probably seen them. Okay, let's keep going. Then there's the fetishization of trans people, which is not flattering, by the way. It is a dehumanizing way of reducing us to sexual objects, not subjects or participants with sexual agency. Okay, so far this article hasn't gotten specific with who they're angry at, whether it's men or women, and who it is that they're not having sex with. They haven't mentioned trans men yet, so I'm just gonna assume that this is about lesbians not wanting to sleep with trans women, aka trans-identified males, obviously. What is the name of that dude on TikTok? You know this dude I'm talking about? Every day he's like, day 58 of being a girl. And then he'll like go to IKEA and like be unable to lift up a fucking box. You know that guy? So he's not dehumanizing women by what he's doing. But women are dehumanizing men by saying we don't want to suck your dick. Clear, I got it. Thanks. So you see men as people, but you don't see women as people. All right. Oh, Dylan, that's his name. Whatever the fuck. Who cares? Every time I see him, all I can think is who has this much money? He basically runs around LARPing every day. Who has the time and money for that? Anyway, whatever. And like filming it and editing it into like fancy TikToks, like highly produced TikToks. Okay. Quote unquote transgender, often using less flattering terms. is one of the most watched porn categories, but rather than showing a desire to engage with trans people, it reveals that that's how most people see transgender people, as a porn category, a fetish. Okay. You never see the people who make this argument reflect the same thing about lesbians. Also, do you know who's watching all of the, like, she-male porn or whatever? It's definitely not women. It's not women, it's men. And this article, so far, is complaining, as far as I can tell, the subtext is that it's complaining that women are not having sex with trans women, with males. And then they're pointing at the proof that this is a problem is the stuff that the men are doing. All right. I don't know, this whole thing about how, like, we're not sex objects, we don't want to be sexually objectified, we want to be, like, participants with agency, and then I bet you later on in the article they're going to be like, if you don't sexually objectify us, it's because you don't respect us. I'm just, you know, probably something like that's going to happen in this article. Okay, but also, I mean, I didn't mean to go on the whole thing about this. I want to try it because we're trying to keep this under 30 minutes. So on principle, I'm not sure how far this argument goes, actually, because I'm just making it up on the spot, but because I'm trying to think, like, on principle, if you apply it to different groups, does the same logic apply? But they're fucking men, so I think it pretty fucking applies. Yes, Kaz says they get mad at people for fetishizing them, but they literally are a walking fetish, and post their kink images publicly online. Yeah, for sure. Literally today there was this dude on Twitter who posted some photo that got like 5,000 likes. And the post was like some dude, you know, looking all pornified, right? And he was like, somebody asked me today, like, am I a man or a woman? Like, what do you think? And it's like, basically the guy's point was like, well, I look like a porn star, so you must think I'm a real woman. And I'm like, so if that's what you think, then you must think that the presumption of what a woman is that she's a sex object, and because you are now a sex object, you must be a woman. That's, if you didn't believe that in the first place, the argument would make no sense. So just, everybody is all, this is like, it just makes no sense as an argument. It has no logical consistency within the community's self-perception. Anyway, my point about porn was, who is making this porn? You know, the trans porn, where the trans are being objectified, becoming sex objects without agency. Who's doing that? Is it all the cis people who are doing that? Or is it the trans people who are doing that? Alright. That content is created for cisgender audiences and consumption. Trans people are the actors, but not the target audience. I agree, the trans people are the actors. Also, they are the target audience though, because so many, like Cracked Egg, or like one of those subreddits, like every fucking Tim on there is like, yeah, I had my sexual awakening by watching sissy porn. Like, as the way I see it, trans porn is like a recruitment tool for men. Okay. Let's get on from this porn stuff. I kind of can't be bothered to talk about it anymore. Alright. It presents trans bodies as a forbidden desire, a deviation, a fetish. And in many cases, it's like most mainstream porn, a misrepresentation of what sex looks like in real life. Oh my god, is this person vaguely porn critical? I'm shocked. Let's keep going. Because, like, okay, I think it's Gail Dines. Yeah. Gail Dines has a quote, sex is to porn as food is to McDonald's, which is basically that it's like fake garbage. Unhealthy, toxic, fake garbage. And that's almost what this phrase just said, so that's kind of shocking to me. Okay. This genre of porn doesn't show how people have sex. It shows how cisgender people think transgender bodies work. Trans women in a typical... Sorry. Trans women typically perform the way cisgender men would in these scenes, often taking on the dominant sexual role. Okay, this is so fucking hilarious to me because, like, as I'm reading this, I'm just thinking about, like, this applies to literally all of porn, and this applies to women 10 billion times more than it applies to men, and I literally cannot give a shit about the men. Okay, let's keep going. So their main concern, okay, so I'm trying to like take a step back and look at this in terms of like coercion. So the author's main concern with trans porn is that it depicts trans women as being sexually dominant. And I bet you that the author, she's about to flip this around and be like, but wait, trans people have all types of sex in bed. So if you don't want to be like dominated and penetrated, you can still have sex with a trans woman, which is like just so fucking ridiculous. Like entering into any sexual situation with a dude with a penis, it's like that's on the table. Stop pretending, like stop trying to like muddy the waters. All right. Trans people's lived experiences differ greatly. Everyone's social and medical transition is different, and even just hormone replacement therapy, HRT, and dysphoria, for example, can have a huge impact on how trans people experience their bodies. It can affect the way they have orgasms, feel pleasure, and sometimes change their desires. You mean like when you take a lot of hormones and it changes your sexual orientation? Okay. Or when you become really, really, really porn sick? Like, I don't know, like look at Gigi Gorgeous. He literally was like a gay man, and now he has transitioned to like be a woman, and he's married to like an actual fucking woman. So he switched from being a gay man to being a lesbian, like in his perspective. Anyway, okay. Oh my god, I can already, oh my, okay, we're getting to the cringe. Are you ready? Also, okay, this is like so insidious. It affects the ways they can have orgasms and feel pleasure. This is really, really insidious because this is getting at the whole thing of like, well, they don't even need to like get an erection. Like they won't even like have an orgasm. So if you're like grossed out by that, like you won't have to be, you don't have to be grossed out. Like it's possible that that won't happen. So you don't, but it's like, there's still a huge possibility that will be the way that the sex happens. But they're just saying like, oh, in some cases, the bad things, like the really masculine man things in bed might not happen. So like leave that open as a possibility. But like that's just the thin end of the wedge. That if that's a possibility, then you're gonna agree to like have this sex that you don't want to have. Okay. Trans masculine people who take testosterone, okay, so now they're talking about TIFs, which is the author's a TIF, can experience bottom growth, which is like the clitoris. Don't even mention the mouthfeel shit, bro. I can't even with that crap. And can have vaginismus, a condition that causes the vagina to tighten when you attempt to insert something in it. Okay, that's not exactly what vaginismus is, but I guess if you're talking specifically about, and that's not, I just, like if you take a fuck ton of testosterone, your vagina needs estrogen to operate. So if you take enough testosterone, it basically leaches all the estrogen out of your reproductive organs. It's like women in menopause when they don't have any estrogen inside and their vagina and like just their reproductive system generally, they have like a lot of dryness, itchiness, all that kind of like pain and stuff, even like a lot of bleeding because it's so dry and itchy inside. Like that's what you're getting put through. So that's not like vaginismus, that's like you're fucking destroying your vagina. That's what that is. But okay, but let's take a step back. Why is she mentioning this specifically? She's trying to say, oh, you think you're going to have sex with a female and that she's going to want you to penetrate her? Don't worry. This female might want the opposite thing. So it's just trying to like open up the possibility that like what you expect is not what's going to happen. But like, imagine if you're a gay dude and you walk into that situation thinking that that's not on the table, but that is on the table. Like it's just very like misleading. Okay. Many trans feminine people, now we're talking about Tims, struggle to maintain an erection and ejaculate. And lots of trans people don't feel comfortable having their genitals touched at all. Oh yeah, now we're getting to the Tumblr argument. Who can remember that shit? Remember when the argument was, when was this? 2014? When the argument started, well, you can have a relationship without sex. Or you can have a relationship where one person does the sex to the other person, but the other person never takes their clothes off. That can be a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Like, sure, it can for like 0.0001% of the population, perhaps, maybe, if you're like the perfect combination for each other. But this is not like if you're like a lesbian who wants to have sex with a woman, and then they're like, yeah, just enter a relationship and you should never have sex and you should be happy. Okay. And also, like, again, that's completely misleading. That's not the situation. That's like a coercive tactic. They want you to get into a relationship with that assumption so that once you're in the relationship, then they can like push it onto you. Okay. For example, some trans masculine people have never had penis and vagina sex. having sex with me is not largely different from having sex with any other gay man. Okay, so this Tiff identifies herself as a gay man. Okay, so what I get from this is that she wants to be penetrated anally, or she wants to like be the top, which is like, okay, but a woman pegging someone is not a man. So, or like strapping or whatever, like, okay. This means that when people say they would never have sex with a trans person, they're making assumptions about what that sex would look like, such as thinking it would involve penetration or fellatio. Okay. I don't care what the actual act is. Did it freeze for a second? Can you see me? It said it was like disconnected for a sec. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna need to like read more and like talk less because it's getting 21 minutes now. Okay. You can't know someone's genitals based on their gender. Okay, but if someone says they're a trans woman, then you literally know that they're a fucking male who has a feminine identity. So you actually fucking know what it is. And you can't know someone's genitals unless they tell you what they are. That leads us to disclosure. When it comes to trans people, one of the most daunting and harmful stereotypes is the belief that trans people are sexual predators, trying to coerce people into having sex with them by not disclosing what their genitals are, or quote-unquote cross-dressing, to enter single-sex spaces. Single-sex spaces don't exist anymore. This was written in 2021 in the US, or in England. Like, it's self-ID mostly taken over there. Or at least they have, like, the GRC, which basically invalidates single-sex, okay, whatever. Laws that legitimize violent reactions to this disclosure still exist. In the US, 46 states still allow the quote-unquote trans panic defense when someone, usually a cisgender man, is charged with murder of a trans person, usually trans feminine, a Tim. They can claim the violence was prompted by being told that woman has a penis or used to be a man. Okay, but again, this article seems to be largely targeted at lesbians from my perspective. And then they're bringing up men do bad things, so the women need to make up for that. This is so fucking misogynistic. But also, like, it's so misleading. It's so misleading. They're basically saying we shouldn't have to disclose. Is that what the author's saying? We shouldn't have to disclose? But also, if you say us not disclosing is freaking you out, that's like a you problem. Like, it's, yeah, Sabrina says it's attempted rape by deception. For those of you who don't know, rape by deception is defined in a couple of states, the UK, in Canada. Most of the precedents for rape by deception has to do with HIV, which is that you told someone, you lied to them, you deceived them, you said, I'm clean, when you know you're not clean. And then you have like unprotected sex, so you gave them HIV. That's like most of the legal precedent on rape by deception. There's also one case in the UK, I think, where a woman like passed herself off as a guy and like did sexual stuff with another woman for like months or something. And this woman eventually found out that the like what she thought was a man was tricking her, and I'm pretty sure that got tried as a rape by deception case. So like literally when you know somebody will only have sex with you under certain conditions and you lie to make that the conditions, that's rape by deception. Okay. So whenever they're like, I shouldn't have to disclose, that's rape by deception. You're purposely going after someone who you know doesn't want to have sex with you under those conditions, and you're hiding the conditions from them until the actual sex starts happening. Okay. This year has the highest number of deaths on record for trans and gender diverse people, most of them trans feminine people and sex workers. Okay. Let's break this down. First of all, you're saying because women won't suck men's dicks that the men are killing themselves. That is like a literally men's rights activist tactic. Okay. Second of all, they're mentioning sex workers. The people who are murdering the sex workers are having sex with them. Like, that statistic, I can't click on it because this phone is not on the internet. I can't click on it, but this statistic almost always references prostitutes who are trans-identified males or homosexual males in Brazil. The people who are killing them are their Johns who are already had sex with them. So the entire premise of the article that if you have sex with us, that will stop oppression and like save our lives, literally is disproved in this like one fucking phrase right here. Because the people who are killing them are already having sex with them, so clearly having sex with them is not solving the problem. Okay. All right. The statistics we hear are hammered in our brains, sometimes long before we even come out or realize we're transgender. It's hard to thrive when you're afraid of being the next one, and that means we rarely take risks. When safe to do so, the disclosure happens quite early on, before entering a bedroom, before meeting up for the first time, after matching on a dating app. Okay. The statistics are nothing to do with the Western world. The statistics are to do with, like, fucking Brazil, or, like, they are really, really specific, the statistics. It's like street youth in, like, the sketchy parts of LA who are, like, under the age of 16 or something. Like, the statistics that they're referencing are so specific. It's not like every single trans person in the Western world should apply these statistics to their risks in their life, okay? Also, I feel like she was just advocating for, like, not having disclosed, and now she's saying, no, but we all disclose. There is literally trans activists all over TikTok and Instagram making long paragraph posts about how, you know, I shouldn't have to tell someone that I used to be like a man, or like that I'm AMAB, whatever. I should be able to just have the sex I want to have because, like, I deserve it, or because trans people have less institutional power in, like, the heteropatriarchal paradigm or whatever. Therefore, they literally don't have the, like, power to be rapists. And it's like, okay, whatever. So the author is saying nobody does that. There are hundreds of thousands of children all over the internet today who believe it is correct, moral, and good to deceive someone into having sex with you if you're trans. I'm not joking. Go on fucking TikTok and look at it yourself. Okay. So, what might be a simple question of quote-unquote sexual preference to some is a matter of life and death for us. AKA, if you say no to having sex with us, or if you have any sexual boundaries that might offend me in the future, you basically want me to die. How is this not rape culture? Okay, so the 30 minutes thing is not happening. Whatever. I'll get to the end of the article. It's not a fucking preference, says Michelle. Fucking A. I'll get to the end of the article, and then I'll check how much data I used today, and we'll see if we're going to do another one in a week or something. Okay. When we bring up the fact we are transgender, often putting ourselves in danger, the conversation shifts to sex. Okay. This is presuming, first of all, like, everything makes no sense. In 2021, when this article was written, the average trans person, but if you meet them in person, okay, is the average trans person, is their goal to be stealth? Because I have not met these people in the last couple years. The average trans person I have met has fucking pronoun pins and rainbow badges and won't shut the fuck up about trans shit. So they're acting like, oh, we have to out ourselves. Dude, none of you are stealth right now anyway. So that makes no sense, okay. And especially in a dating situation. How many trans people are dating someone that they didn't find in, like, with, like, their queer preferences on a dating app? Being trans often comes hand in hand with being hypersexualized, and that means our genitals aren't just discussed in the context of sleeping with someone. Okay. From my experience, I've discussed my genitals more often with random strangers than with romantic love interests. Okay, but so what? Because random strangers ask you about your genitals, therefore when the actual person you're about to have sex with asks you about it, that they're being mean to you? Okay, let's apply that to lesbians. Lots of people are like, ooh, what's lesbian sex? Like, what's their sex? Right? They're really stupid and immature about it. So because random people ask me that, when I'm, like, in a situation where I'm about to have sex with a woman, if she asks me what we should do in bed, I should be like, oh my god, how can you ask me what lesbian sex is? Hello? Okay. Just makes no sense. Due to fetishization, curiosity, or fear of quote-unquote what's in your pants, the what's in your pants question always arrives early on. You literally just fucking said, like, 2 paragraphs ago. Here we go. When safe to do so, the disclosure happens quite early on, before entering a bedroom, before meeting up for the first time, after matching on a dating app. Here, now she says, the question arrives early on, and that's upsetting to me. So which is it? Are you disclosing early on because it's safety, or you don't want to disclose early on because it's too upsetting for you? On dates, cisgender people wouldn't ask that question of one another. Yeah, because they're fucking cisgender, so they know what's on the table. Like, also, something else that this is going to be like an hour stream. Something else that makes no sense to me. Like, so the author has mentioned many times that she's like, there's different ways that trans people have sex. Okay, good, great. So let's presume we think queer theory is like real and all this shit makes sense. So imagine I'm a gay trans man, okay, and I'm on a date with a gay guy. What if he is like a strict top or a strict bottom and he's trying to like determine that with me before we get to the bedroom? This is the same interaction that would happen between two cis gay men. But because I'm trans, now if he asks me that as a like gay trans man, that's like transphobic. Like, it just makes no fucking sense any way you look at it. Okay. They might not even mention sex on the first date, though bold daters might not pay much heed to such rules. Yet, that highly intrusive question somehow seems to be a reasonable question to ask trans people, be it online, at a bar, waiting in line for a concert, as a friend, as strangers, before a date is even suggested. Okay, but you literally said a second ago that if you match with someone on a dating app, you would disclose it early on before you even agreed to meet up. Now you're saying that if they ask someone online before you meet up, that's intrusive. My answer is going to change how you perceive me. Yeah. As in, are you someone I can actually be sexually attracted to? Are you someone that I'm going to have to pretend to be sexually attracted to not hurt your feelings? It's going to make a difference between being, in your eyes, a quote-unquote real man or a woman, or a work in progress, or just confused, or going through a phase. Okay, whatever. It's going to make the difference between being viewed as a human or a porn category, being someone you'd introduce to your parents, or a dirty little secret. Okay, this is so stupid to me. If someone is asking you the question, could you not at that point gauge, is this someone who's asking me the question because they're open to it, but they like whatever kind of sex, but they want to like just know what they're getting into? Or is this person like a tranny chaser, like a fetishist, right? It seems to me like it's a good thing for them to ask that question, because then you can suss out whether this is someone you would introduce to your parents or this is someone who just wants to fuck you. How are you supposed to know? Also, the whole dirty little secret thing. Like, the entire supposition makes no sense. Are they saying that there are, like, random men who are matching up with trans women on dating apps who don't know the woman is trans, and then when they get there, then at that point they ask, what's in your pants? And then it's at that point that the guy reveals himself to be a tranny chaser. How does that make any... That doesn't make any sense. What? Okay. Talking about sex is healthy. Yeah, such as... Hey, Komutashio. Such as discussing boundaries, consent, what turns you on, what you like, what you don't like, these kind of things. It's good to discuss before you get into the sexual situation, don't you think? It's useful to discuss boundaries and kinks. What if my boundary is no penis? Okay. So what happens when there's incompatibility? You don't have sex with each other. That's what should happen. Quote unquote, no trans people can be a preference because the only characteristic shared by all trans people is transness. You know, true enough. That's accurate. That is like a factual statement. But you know what? In the same way that I wouldn't want to have sex with like a far-right Christian fundamentalist, even if I thought she was super hot, I also wouldn't want to have sex with someone who's completely ideologically and politically opposed to me and has a completely different value system than I do. That makes me a bad person. We should write an article about how... No, Scientologists. Yeah, we should write an article about how the transes are leading to like depression in Scientology because they won't have sex with Scientologists or something. Okay. But also, I love how... So, it's so convenient for them that if they ignore that sex exists, like anatomy, like male, female, if they ignore that exists, they never have to like get into the nitty gritty of it. I have been sexually attracted to trans-identified females because they're basically super butch women, like a lot of the time, right? So this whole I would never have sex with a trans person, if I said that, what I'm probably saying is I would never be attracted to a male. Like, I still wouldn't want to have sex with a TIFF because of like ideological reasons, but I'm just saying, like, by never mentioning the actual sex of the people involved, whether they're male or female. You never need to actually get into the nitty gritty of like, well, maybe some people are like homosexual. So like, for example, a gay man might want to have sex with a man, but also be okay having sex with a trans-identified man, but wouldn't want to have sex with a trans-identified female. Like, this is the same thing with like trans-exclusionary radical feminists. It's like, I'm not excluding all trans people, I'm excluding males. You just don't like the way I categorize it. That doesn't mean that I don't include trans people. It just means I don't include them into your, in your context, which is the same thing here. I might be sexually attracted to a Tiff. That doesn't mean I'm sexually attracted to a Tim. Okay. Being trans doesn't determine what your body looks like, and it's an exclusion that reinforces systemic discrimination. Okay, is systemic discrimination based on who will and will not have sex with you? Because, like, for example, black women in America, there has never been a point in history where nobody would have sex with them. And yet, they are one of the most oppressed people in America. So I kind of think that entire premise makes no fucking sense. Okay. Okay, preferences are usually related to specific physical characteristics. You might have a type, like a certain hair color or action, oral sex kinks. Reducing trans people to either of those categories is an oversimplification, often rooted in misunderstanding or transphobia, or like an awareness that I'm a lesbian and that that's a fucking man. All right. Like, this is all gaslighting. Think about what's really preventing you from engaging with certain people. Is it a lack of experience? Not knowing how something works? Internalized transphobia? Trauma? Understanding our desires better is the first step to unpacking whether they're problematic. I know what my desires are. Why do I need to like experiment and do shit I don't want to do on the off chance that somebody else will enjoy it? Like, what is the actual benefit to me? Let's say that I'm reading this article and I take the whole thing at face value. What benefit is it to me to go out and have sex that, like, okay, they mentioned trauma. So let's say I'm traumatized sexually and I go out and I try to have sex with somebody who triggers me. What is the benefit to me from that? It's nothing. The only person benefiting from that is the person who wants to be sexually validated. Lack of experience. Okay, so what? Like, even that phrase, I'm like, are you saying that lesbians can't know they're lesbians because they haven't tried to have sex with men? Like, what does that mean? You don't know what you like because you haven't tried it. This is conversion therapy rhetoric. Okay. We are at 38 minutes. We're very close to being done. Okay. It's easy to think that, when discussing genitals, the answer a trans person will give will be a deal breaker for any romantic or sexual escalation. But maybe the issue is asking the wrong question. Don't ask me what I look like. Don't ask me how to tell if your crush is trans. Don't ask me if you're transphobic. Ask me what my ideal first date is. Ask me if I want to drink. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about that ex you've definitely dated longer than you should have. Tell me about what you've always wanted to try. Ask me what pet names I like. Ask me what turns me on. Ask me what's off the table. Ask me if we should turn off the light. Ask me if you can play with my hair. Tell me you want to kiss me. Get to know me. All of me. Okay, this is literally hearts not parts. They're literally saying, like, is it a deal breaker for you if that person is of the sex you're not attracted to? Well, ignore that and get emotionally invested to the point where you feel guilty saying no to having sex with them. Just to be clear, the author of this is a TIFF. All right. This is literally Hearts Not Parts, but this is the longest version of Hearts Not Parts that I've ever seen. They're literally like, start dating me emotionally, hearts and parts. Thanks, Cass. They're literally like, get emotionally invested when you know that sex is off the table for you. That's what the author is telling us to do. Meanwhile, the author in like the 3rd paragraph or the 5th paragraph of the fucking article was like, people think that they have this misinterpretation that trans people are like predators, when you're literally here telling us how to, like, if we want to say no, how to say yes to something else instead of saying no to that. How is that not coercion? All right. Get to know me, all of me. Ask every question but that one. And you'll realize that maybe, just maybe, I'm a human being that's worthy of being desired, and I'm a sexual participant with needs, wants, and agencies. Yeah, bro, we know you have needs and wants. And we know that you have agency based on the amount of, like, power exuded over people to fucking do this crap. Like, I've never seen it said so blatantly. Hey, Aqua. And you'll realize that maybe, just maybe, I'm a human being that's worthy of being desired. This is, like, so emotional blackmail. They're saying if you won't have sex with me, it's because you don't think I'm a fucking human. How about I think you're a human, but I am a homosexual? Or how about I think you're a human, but I don't have sex with everyone? How about I think you're a human, but even if I'm sexually attracted to you, maybe there's other reasons I don't want to sleep with you. Like, there is, like, 1 bajillion reasons why, like, every random person that's, like, walks by me in the street, I probably don't want to sleep with them. And I still think that they're a human being. It's so fucking emotionally manipulative. Like, that's how you know this article is aimed at women. Because men do not react to this argument, but women do. Frau says nobody has a human right to have sex. Fucking A. Okay. That's the end of the article. That's the end of the article, guys. So, yeah, it's literally incel ideology. I mean, they literally say, have sex with me, I'm gonna commit suicide. That's literally what this fucking article is about. If you won't have sex with me, you don't think I'm a human, you hate me. That's what the article says. This is more insidious propaganda. I'll probably redo this article. Oh yeah, okay, update. So I've decided I'm kind of like chilling out a little bit. Okay, 3 minutes, I'm gonna stop the stream. I'm kind of chilling out a little bit with the streams because I am kind of getting burnt out. I'm working a lot, and I'm moving soon. And just things in my life are getting pretty hectic at the moment. So I'm still gonna stream, definitely every Saturday when possible. I'm doing the thing with Rachel. And I'm definitely gonna do at least 1 or 2 streams a week in the middle of the week. But I'm just letting you know, like, it's gonna be less. The other thing is that I'm backing up all my YouTube videos onto hard copies. This is gonna take quite a while. The next kind of stuff that I want to talk about on here is going to be extremely problematic, and I think very likely to at least get some videos taken down, if not my channel taken down. For this reason, I want to be very careful that I back everything up before I start my Lesbians Under Attack series. I also want to do a series that's called This Never Happens, about Tim's in prison, because there's a couple of websites now who really document it quite well. Like Women Are Human and Reduc. So this has been nice. Thanks for tuning. I hope you enjoyed the water. I definitely found a better spot to do this. Oh yeah, about the Discord. Okay, some of you, I like accepted your friend request, but we didn't talk yet. Some of you have sent me friends requests and I haven't responded to it yet. Some of you have emailed me and I haven't responded to you yet. Basically, I did like all the Discord stuff for like 2 days, and then I like literally went on like a crazy road trip. Like I drove like 2,000 kilometers in like 2 days, and I was like tired and then I had like a lot of work stuff, so you know, just life. I'm going to get the Discord stuff organized by this Friday for sure, and then we will schedule like a weekly voice chat or something in the Discord server. So if you're interested, email me, but I'm just letting you know, right now there's like 7 women in the server. I'm thinking like 20 max. Like for security reasons, you can't really have a lot of women in one server and keep it secure. So if you are like already contacting me on Discord, that probably means that I recognize you from YouTube, and I'm like generally like, yes, I'm gonna add you, like just to double check video chat first. But yeah. So anyway, it's nice out, eh? I brought a hat. I left it in the car. I brought out like a hat, but then I realized I can't wear it with this. I need to get I have like a lapel mic, but I need to get like a new battery for it. I think I'm gonna try the lapel mic with the battery so I can wear hats, because it's like quite sunny. Yeah. Okay. Also shout out to the women who are like helping me organize the Discord, Kaz and Julia and Rachel. Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you at some point this week. Okay. Bye.